Alright guys, we made it to Miami. I am in this very weird backdrop here today. I'm in the room that we normally stay in here at my mom's house, but like I'm on Riley's air mattress. This is the best setup that I can do today right now in order to get this video out. This is gonna be a very real-time video because today's Monday. This video is gonna go up Tuesday. So after I film it, I'm gonna be editing it tonight so that I have something for you guys to watch and listen to tomorrow now when you are watching this. So like I said, we are in Miami. I am sunburned. As you can see, it's been a very long time since I got a sunburn. Totally my fault. I did not apply enough sunscreen, didn't reapply, and of course, I don't usually have that problem because you guys know like the long sleeve swimsuit that I always wear. That's why I normally wear that, because otherwise this is what ends up happening. So let's just like ignore that. I should probably like, I don't know, cover it up so it's not like so in your face. But yes, I got a sunburn because we spent today's Labor Day. We spent it with my girlfriend and her kids, and we were in the pool. The kids had a blast, so it was a good day. And of course, I'm happy to be here in Miami, but I haven't filmed since I've been here. So yesterday was Papa's birthday. We had a great day with Papa. We went to church, and then we spent the day in the pool, and we hung out. So we've been having a great time, but I haven't filmed, so that's why I need to film this Q&A in order to have something for you guys to watch. So I had asked you here on YouTube. Normally my Q&A is like I ask like for questions over on Instagram, but I did ask the other day here in the little community tab. So I'm gonna just kind of spitfire, like answer some questions and see if I can answer some of the things that haven't been asked so regularly. Maybe you're new to the channel, maybe you'll learn something new, but let's just get started and then we'll kind of catch up as I go. So Amber over here asked, what are your pick-me-ups throughout the day just for you? Do you stop and have a cup of tea, or maybe have a time where you play your favorite playlist? I'm a stay-at-home mom with littles, and it's just me and them, so I like to hear what other mamas do to keep feeling encouraged and energized. So first of all, if you have any tips you want to share, you can definitely leave them down in the comments. Ways like little pick-me-ups, what's your pick-me-up? I think that's a helpful thing that we can kind of read through. But for me, like I love my coffee in the morning. Like that for me is like my little, like my ritual of like going and having some really good tasting coffee that I make myself. Either in the morning I do the coffee, or at night, like right after the kids go to bed. I've told you a million times that I do like my mud water, which is like less caffeinated, but there's something about like a warm cup of something that I really like. And I'm not like super much of like a tea person, but I definitely like coffee. So that is something that I do just for me. And then for me lately also, like anytime that I open up my devotionals, that's like for me, like time for me to study the Bible a little bit. Lately I've been doing an app called Hallow, and that's something that I do that's just for me. And I know it's corny because you're like, well, is that really like, I don't know, self-care, or like, is that fun? Some days it's fun, some days it's not so fun, but I feel so good after having done it. But with the Hallow app, there's like different like daily reflections on the Bible, and they're quick usually. Like there's like little morning ones that are like 6 or 7 minutes long, and I feel so refreshed or like ready for the day when I listen to them in the morning. Other than that, there's not a whole lot that I can say that I do like just for me, like as far as a pick-me-up. On the rare occasion that I get like just a little bit of time, I love me a good bubble bath. I really haven't read any like novels lately just because I've been reading other kinds of books, devotionals, and then I've been reading a homeschool book. So nothing like super good like that. I guess for me, like one of the things that I do like to do is like watch YouTube videos. Like I still like to watch gardening videos. I like to watch homemaking videos, like where people are like making stuff from scratch and like living in like the old days. That for me, I don't know, there's something really motivating about it. Like anytime that I can learn something. So just learning how to like watch people freeze dry stuff, like all of that stuff I do for myself. And that kind of, I don't know, something about like stimulating my brain and learning a new skill makes me happy. So I'm sorry I don't have a lot more to offer there, but right now that's kind of some of the stuff that I do. So the next question, Jasmine said, not sure if I missed it, but have you started potty training Jackson, or will you wait? I have not started, and I don't have any plans to yet. Jackson isn't even 3 yet. He's not like going to pre-K. I'm homeschooling both of them, so it's not like we have like a hard, you know, deadline. And I have potty training videos here on my channel. If you've never seen them, just like search Kayla Buell potty training. And I shared a couple videos from like my experience potty training Riley, so maybe that'll help. When the time comes, maybe like in the next like 6 months, I may revisit those videos just for myself, kind of refresh on some of those things that I have since forgotten, and then maybe I'll start with Jackson. But I'm trying not to like put super much pressure on myself to potty train him, because like right now, like I've got one kid in diapers and like that's okay. Like it hasn't been a huge problem. What I will say is something I told my girlfriend today, because she's got 2 boys that are a little bit younger than Jackson. She was asking me the same thing, and I said, what I will do is like have been times where like we'll be talking about using the potty, or like Riley will say something like, oh, I just used the potty. And in those instances, if Jackson's around, I'll kind of say like, hey Jackson, do you want to use the potty? And there have been a couple times where he'll be like, yeah, or he has no idea like what he's even saying yes to. So when he says yes or shows any kind of interest, then I'll take him to the potty, like I'll take him to the toilet and just sit him there. And then he'll sit there just for like a few seconds and he's like, I'm done. And I'm like, you didn't do anything. Like he obviously thinks he did, but he hasn't. But then after, you know, he's like, I'm done, then I'll just take him off of the potty. Like I don't want it to be super stressful for him, because with Riley, I tried to kind of like force her for a while and it was just miserable. It was miserable. She didn't like it. It was stressful. It was stressful for me. And then I put it on hold. I put like a little pin in it. And then we came back to it like 6 months later and she was potty trained in like a day or 2. So that's kind of where I'm at with him. I promise I'll share when we get there, but like it's just not like at the top of my mind at this point. So Claire asked, how did you get your kids to play on their own and play pretend? It seems like they do well with that. Did you kind of teach them? Are there certain toys that Riley really played well with when she was a toddler that helped with that? In terms of playing, like I will say, like my kids have their things that they are not very good at, but one of the things that they are good at is they will play very well on their own. And I love it, because I'm not the kind of mom that wants to play with them all the time. Like I've told you guys that I do not like to play pretend. That to me is like, no, dear Lord, please no. Like I don't want to play with your Peppas. I don't want to pretend that I'm going on an adventure and like have to talk like the Peppa. Like I hate that crap. Like I'm very into arts and crafts. I homeschool. You guys see I do activities, but playing pretend is like the bane of my existence. Like it's not for me. I played Barbies as a kid and I loved that, but like now as an adult, like no, like I love you, but I don't know, figure it out, play together, because I'm not gonna do it. So I think just the fact that I've kind of like taken the stance of like, all right, no, like there are times where they ask me like, oh, you play? And I'm like, no, like, or I've got to do something else. Like I'll be there in a second and I'm not there in a second. And I know that, you know, that's not the best. I'm straight up lying to her, but it's given her the opportunity to just have to play on her own. And this is with Riley and with Jackson. So I think just sometimes like giving them that space and remembering that like it's okay if you tell your kid no, that you're not gonna play with them. Like they're not gonna love you less. They're not gonna disown you as their mother. Like it doesn't make you a bad mom. You give them the opportunity to play, but you don't have to play with them every 2 seconds. Like I think it's good for them to be bored. I think it's good for them to learn how to play on their own and quietly. And again, it doesn't mean you're neglecting your kid. It doesn't mean that you never play with them, but sometimes you have to give them the space to figure that out. So that's my little spiel on pretend play. I do think like at the beginning when Riley, you know, never knew what that was about or had never pretend played before, I would like sit down with her just for like even like 2 minutes, right? And just like show her the little people and move them around the little play castle or whatever it is that they're trying to play with. And you kind of model it so that she kind of has an idea of what to do. And then you say, okay, here, it's your turn. So there's that. And I think also my kids have also watched other kids play with toys, like just from watching YouTube videos. And like some of the educational YouTube videos that Riley would watch, like now she doesn't have YouTube on her iPad, but when she did, she would watch people like, you know, that's literally like there's a whole genre of like people that would make YouTube videos of playing with freaking little toys. And whether you want to, you know, bash YouTube or watch kids watching, you know, screen time and all of that, they pick up on these things and they learn how to play and they learn how to, you know, make up these scenarios. So I think that's honestly what has helped them. And I think Jackson has just piggybacked off of that and he sees his sister do it. And then he kind of, you know, plays pretend with his cars. So that's kind of what's worked in our house. So Maureen asked, in a recent video, you made awesome comments about dressing for your current body and sizing up. I love that. How do you deal with the pressures of your body changing and aging in a confident way? So, I don't know, there's like a whole lot that I could say about that, I guess. I'm gonna tell you guys that I am the heaviest that I have ever been outside of being pregnant right now. And I'm trying to like, I've given myself a lot of grace in that space lately. I know that I've been prioritizing a lot of other things. I've been prioritizing working on my faith, which I think is important. And I've just, with homeschooling, with trying to do some stuff to around the house, or try to just, have it be livable, my house, and working on the garden, there's other things that have just taken importance over like being in the gym or working out 24/7. So it hasn't been like the kind of thing where I'm like obsessed about it. I just kind of keep an eye on my weight. And I realize, like, I'm not like trying to be in denial. Like, I realize that I am, again, on the scale, I'm the heaviest that I've been in a while. I would like to, in the near future, maybe, work on that a little bit, maybe get a little bit closer to my ideal weight for me, because I'm 5'3", you guys. I'm 5'3", I'm tiny. So anytime, even if I gain like 5 pounds, on my body, I can notice it. But it's not an obsession, right? It's just like, okay, I notice there's like a trend. Like, there's a trend that right now, like, I no longer fit in my size 4 jeans. I'm now in a size 6 jeans. And that's okay to a certain extent. I think that it's okay that your body changes. I've had 2 kids. But I also struggle with like, I want to be happy, but I also want to be healthy, right? And I also want to make sure that I'm making better choices when it comes to like what I'm eating. Like, if I'm not exercising, then what can I be doing to maybe ensure that I'm eating better or whatever? So it's like a balance. It's like, I don't want to obsess either way. I'm not a super obsessive personality. I think I've shared that before. Like Joe, that's like one of the areas where Joe and I fight a lot, because Joe is like a black or white kind of person. It's either this way or that way. There's no in between. In most respects in my life, I feel like there's a little bit more give. There's a little more give and take. It's not super black and white. But point is, like, I don't try to compare myself to other people so much. Like, I see, like, again, you open up your phone and you see models and people that have like 0, -5% body fat. Like, you see that. And like, I try not to compare myself to them, because I don't know what their life is. It's irrelevant to me in a sense. I just like to compare myself to like my own body. And again, knowing that as I age, and knowing that as I have kids and stuff, like, things aren't gonna look the same as like when I was 20. So as long as I'm like, not too far away from like where I would like to see myself in terms of my weight, then I'm happy, I'm okay. I know that I can work. Like, if I put in a little bit of more effort on my part, whether it's working out or eating better, I know that I can get there. But what I'm not gonna do, I'm not gonna be like, oh my goodness, like, I need to, like, I don't fit in my size 4 jeans. That means that tomorrow I need to like go on an all liquid diet, and I need to, like, not eat for 5 weeks so that I fit back into those jeans that have been sitting there in the closet. Like, I think that that can be unhealthy too. Like, it can be unhealthy both ways. It can be unhealthy saying, oh, I don't care, whatever, I'm just gonna continue to gain weight and gain weight and gain weight. That could be unhealthy. But also like trying to like, again, like, starve yourself can be unhealthy. So I think it's good to have certain goals with your body if you want. I don't think there's anything wrong with losing a little bit of weight, but making sure that you're doing it in a healthy way is, I guess, the best that I can respond to that. Focusing on like weight gain right now, because that's kind of like the thing that has been on my mind lately. I'm at a point right now where I want to prioritize, and probably next year I'll probably focus on it more, prioritizing like doing some kind of toning, maybe a little bit of weightlifting. It's just that I don't like to exercise. I've told you this a million times. I don't like it. It does not, like, I have never found a form of exercise that I like. So I've gotta pray about that and like work on it. So this answer is probably a mess at this point. But I guess all I'll leave you with is just try to not compare yourself to other people. If you want to compare yourself to yourself, where you were 3 months ago, where you'd like to be 3 months from now, I think that's fine. But just focus on your body type. Like, what everybody else is doing is not important in your life. All right, so Avery asked, what is your favorite thing to do with Joe when you two get alone time together? So, I mean, nothing super fancy, because we're not super fancy people. We don't do super fancy things at this point in our life. Right now, our favorite thing to do is to watch TV shows together after the kids go to bed. We love that. We've been really enjoying going through the Bible in a year together. That has been like one of the things we do every night together. Maybe we miss like a day or two here, and like right now we've been traveling, so we haven't been doing it as much as we would like to. But we genuinely enjoy doing that. Like that brings us like happiness to listen to Father Mike, to talk about what he was talking about and to kind of discuss it. sounds super corny and cheesy, but it's brought us so much closer together. So we'll do that. We'll, you know, watch 501 a Year, and then we'll go on and we'll watch 90 Day Fiance, where these people are freaking train wrecks, and it's, you know, just great reality TV and just pure garbage, but we like to watch that. I'll tell you guys, I haven't had as much fun with Joe as I did when we went on our little getaway to Naples and we were out on the boat where Joe was driving me around in the boat. I haven't had that much fun with Joe in ages. So I would say I would love it in the future if maybe one day we have a boat or can have access to a boat and just like go off and explore together. But right now it's just kind of like watching TV. When we get a chance where we have like my parents around that I can leave the kids with, we do enjoy like date nights out at nice restaurants where we can eat and, you know, have just good food. And Joe's favorite thing to do on this planet is like people watch. Like, I don't know if I ever told you guys this story, but when Joe and I first started dating, I think like on our very first date, we went to a restaurant. We did like a lot of things on our first date, but one of the things that we did is we went to a restaurant, and it was like, I'm not gonna be able to explain it, but like Joe was facing out towards, we were in Miami, we were like on South Beach, and he was like facing like, you know, the sidewalk where people are walking, and I'm like right in front of him. So behind me were all these people walking, and basically like the entire time I was kind of like, hey homie, like, are you paying attention to me? Because it doesn't look like you're looking at me in my face. Like, what's going on here? Like, we still had a great date, but he was like not always paying attention to me because he was busy people watching and like, you know, watching people go by. And I mean, that's part of the law enforcement background that he has, like to kind of be aware of surroundings and like watch for sketch people. But I was like, hello, like I'm here in front of you, like I'm here talking to you. So his favorite thing is to like sit somewhere, have like a drink in his hand, and like people watch. I, you know, enjoy like having nice dates and nice food and all of that. But right now that's like the extent of what we like to do alone together. So a lot of questions, like Abby1234 asked, what do you do for self-care that makes you feel like Kayla instead of mama? Other people in the same thread were like, do you do girls' night or self-care outside of the home? I don't do girls' nights. And I know that that sounds like ridiculous. I'm not a girls' night kind of person. Now, if somebody, like if my girlfriend were to invite me and she were to say, hey, it's my birthday, or you want to go, you know, to dinner, I'm not going to flat out tell her no. Like if I can make it happen, then okay. But I'm not like a super like girlsy girl. Like I have a huge group of friends and I have to go out and we have to do girls' nights and leave your husband at home. Like if you do that, that's fine. I don't care. It doesn't affect my life in any way, but it's not me. Like I would much rather spend time with Joe or like go out with my partner, like with Joe and like other couples and stuff, than like have this need to like have girls' nights. And maybe that sounds stupid. Maybe that sounds whatever. But to me, like, I don't know, like one thing is to do like a girl's day, like, oh, you want to go get your nails done, or like, I don't know, you want to go to Target. That's like, I'd be way more interested in doing that. But like girls' nights, I don't know. Tell me, are you guys into girls' nights? Like, if you do girls' nights, like what do you do? I'm sure that there are plenty of like girls' nights where it's like, hey, come over my house, watch a movie, like let's be in PJs. Like that's more my style. At this point in my life, at 32 years old, after having 2 kids, there's nothing that makes me happy about the thought of like going out to like a lounge or a bar with my girls. For what? Like I already have my husband. I'm not like looking to like flirt with other people, and I don't want to be out late. Like I don't want to be out late. Like that's just not my vibe. Like to be uncomfortable, to be wearing stuff that's not comfortable, to have to like drive at night in the dark, to have to park somewhere, like all of that gives me anxiety. So I would much rather not do that. That would not be a form of self-care. And again, like getting together with my girls or like getting together with, you know, a couple of my girlfriends here and there, different story. But I don't know, like some people love that. Some people live for that. Like they have their monthly girls' night outs. Not bashing you. If you can do it, that's great. That's fine. That's not my life. But I will say, I do like getting massages. Like I love getting pampered. If I had way more money, then I would be doing that more regularly. I feel like that is what I think of when I think of self-care. Just unplugging, being able to read a book, not having kids ask you for snacks 24/7. Like that would be nice, but I just don't do that a lot because that's not like what I'm able to do right now. Anyway, let's move on. So Jasmine asked, also, how did you, I guess she asked another question, but also how did you and Joseph get on the same page when it comes to homeschooling? Did he agree to it right away if it wasn't his idea? Thanks. So homeschooling definitely wasn't Joe's idea. It wasn't my idea for a very long time. Like when I married Joe, I didn't think I was going to homeschool my kids. But over the last couple years, I've been the one that's been much more convicted about wanting to homeschool the kids. So I think I just kind of like gradually started talking about it, or gradually started, you know, introducing the idea of homeschooling, or like, oh look, I'm, you know, following these homeschool accounts, and look, it doesn't seem like it would be that difficult, or, you know, kind of gradually introducing the idea. And then I think just the more that, you know, we've seen, like as Christians, just the way that the world is just like upside down these days, it hasn't been really a fight to tell Joseph that we're going to homeschool the kids, because I think he agrees with me and he's on the same page in terms of like different reasons why we would want to homeschool. And there's a lot of reasons for them. I don't want you to think that there's just like one reason. Like, I want to be with the kids. I want to be their teacher. I have gotten so much joy from doing the curriculum with them and teaching them. And I've just really enjoyed it. I think I would have maybe been a great teacher in a classroom setting like once upon a time ago. Maybe I should have studied that. But point is, like, as our kids have gotten closer to the age where we kind of had to make that decision, he's been totally on board. And I think like he saw very much like how last year I was able to do like our intro year with Riley doing the pre-K3 curriculum. I think he was able to see through me actually doing it, like, hey, Riley's actually learning and she's picking up on things. You know, I made it a point that when he got home from work, I would tell Riley, oh, what did we learn in school today? What did you learn when you were doing your book work or whatever? So I think through seeing that, he also gained a lot of confidence. And the fact that we've been able to build like a community and like have other kids that the kids have been able to be around through like our mom's club. And now in the fall, they're going to start like a homeschool co-op. So I think that also, like, if he had any doubts about it, I've been trying little by little to show him like it's not something that's super scary or not something that is not doable. But he's very happy, I think, at this point that we're blessed and that we're able to be in the position to homeschool. So we are both very happy about that. Okay, so this question, I don't have time to answer this question, okay? Because this question could probably be its own dedicated video. But Sienna, it's a great question, and I hope to maybe film a whole video on that question. But it said, any advice for a mom or a wife in her 20s? Anything that you would do different or glad that you did? There's a whole crap ton of things that I would have done differently, things that I wish I hadn't done, things that like I was like, you know, what was I thinking? Like, there's a lot of, not, I wouldn't say like regrets, because again, I believe that there's certain things that even like things that I, you know, were not good that I did in my past, I feel like they definitely led me to where I am now. So I don't think that, you know, I don't like go to sleep going, oh my God, like I can't believe I did this. But like, would I tell Riley as my daughter to do something different? Yes. So maybe, you know, that can be a good video. So I've got to reflect a little bit, but I'll get back to you, Sienna, I promise. All right, so Bobby said, I tend to be extremely hard on myself, especially as a mom. Do you ever have moments after having to raise your voice or losing it that you just feel terrible? Everyone around me tells me I'm too hard on myself and that I'm doing great. I guess it's just hard to see it myself sometimes. So I always tell people who ask this question, so like, first of all, Bobby, you're not alone, because that's like a question that you see more often, like more and more moms asking this question. The fact that you're even asking the question tells me that you're a good mom, because it tells me that you care. It tells me that you're concerned about whether or not, like, you know, you yelled at your kid. And like, I feel like if you were a crappy mom, like you literally just wouldn't care. You'd be like, whatever, I lost my crap or whatever. Like it wouldn't be a thought. You wouldn't have that, you know, guilt or whatever. So I am sure you're doing a good job. And yes, that happens to me too. Like often these days, very often, okay? Because my kids, I don't know what it is. They're at a hard age where it's nonstop crying, nonstop fighting, nonstop whining. The sass on my child at 4 years old is unreal, but I mean, that's to be expected because she's like a clone of me. So I can't like be mad at her totally, but it's hard. So yes, you raise your voice and you lose it and you feel terrible. But I do think that we have to give ourselves some grace and realize like it's freaking hard. You try to reflect on it and learn and try to do it less over time. But I'd be lying if I said like that I didn't have 2 consecutive days where I lost my SHIT or like I didn't raise my voice, because you're human. Like, you have limits, and toddlers test those limits all day, every day. So it's hard. It's literally one of the reasons why, like, if you're new to my channel, or whether you're new or old, you might not know, but I'm diving back into the Catholic faith, right? So I was raised Catholic, whatever. So whatever your thoughts are about Catholicism, like, that's not what this video is for, but I'm diving back into my Catholic faith. And one of the things that's kind of like a misconception about Catholicism is like that, like, we worship Mary, and like, we honor Mary, who is the mother of Jesus, but like, we don't like worship her, or you're not supposed to like straight up worship her, but you honor her and you ask that she prays for you, that she intercedes for you. And I've never really taken too much of an interest in Mary. Like, yes, I know that she was there, like, you know, in the barn with Jesus, but I haven't ever felt like super drawn to her until like recently, until like now, where now I can relate to her as a mother. And so I've been asking more that she helps me in my motherhood journey, and that she helps guide me, and that she gives me more of that patience, and, you know, just to help me with some of those trying times, especially when I feel like I'm about to snap. And there's a lot of peace that comes with that, and I feel like I'm moving in the right direction. So if you're also like struggling with it, you know, if you're someone of faith, you know, pray about it, continue to pray about it, whether you pray, you know, with Mary or you don't, like, just offer that up to God, offer up that struggle, because like on our own, like we can't do it, okay? It's very difficult to be a mother, but I do believe 1000% that when you have faith on your side, it gets a little easier. Not that it's ever gonna be super simple, but just know that you're not alone, is what I've gotta say. Yes, I raise my voice, and sometimes what I have found that I've done like in my own life is like, I'll raise my voice at Riley and lose my cool with her. And sometimes, most of the time, it's for good reason, right? But I also don't want to like yell at her all the time, because then what I notice is that she picks up on that, and then she starts like yelling at her brother when she's mad, or yelling at me when she's mad. And so overall, like, I want the tone of the house to be a little bit less like fiery, you know? And it's hard. I'm Latin, I'm a Latina, I'm very passionate, I'm very loud, I'm very fiery myself, but I'm trying to just like take it down a little bit, take it down a notch, because I know that like how I act, she reflects it. So I'm working on that for that reason. But then there's also been times where I will lose my cool, and I will, after the fact, after we've kind of cooled down, I will go to her, and I'm talking to Riley mostly because I'm talking about her mostly because she's the one that can like actually understand these things at this point. But I'll go to her and I'll like kneel down next to her, and I'll tell her like, okay, Mama's sorry that she yelled, you know? And I think that goes a long way. I think that it goes a long way in showing her that I'm not always right, you know, and that I can mess up and make mistakes, and that I still love her always. I always tell her, Mama loves you, but Mama, you know, made a mistake, she yelled, and so I'm sorry. And like learning to ask for forgiveness, I think, is important. And realizing that you're gonna make mistakes, I think that's good. And that's it, that she forgives me and we move on. Just like I forgive her all the freaking times that she pisses me off. All right, so Mama Lex, I'm gonna answer like a couple more questions and then I'm like losing my voice. So Mama Lex said, we're moving across the country away from all family and friends, and I would love to hear your tips for surviving the move and how to cope being away from like everyone. Also, do you give each other breaks from the kids since family isn't there to do that? So in terms of surviving or like coping with being away from everyone, it was really hard. It still is really hard. Hence why I'm literally here in Miami any chance that I get to be close to my family. My family is super close. Culturally, it's like a thing where like culturally as a Cuban, in case you were wondering where I'm from if you're new, it's hard to be away from your family. Like I grew up, my grandparents were always at every single birthday party, at every single event. And I'm lucky enough that my grandparents are still alive to this day. Like I feel very blessed that, you know, they're still here. And so point is, we're really close. It's hard. So I get it. It's really difficult to be away. So how do you cope? For us, we've found that making sure that like communication, like we live in a time where we've got a phone. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, but for staying close to your family, like it requires effort on your part and on whoever it is that you want to stay close to. It requires effort on both parts. Whereas before, maybe you could just like get to their house, you know, say, hey, let's go to lunch, let's go to dinner. So I call my mom every single freaking morning, every morning. And she gets so annoyed with me. I mean, I'm sure she appreciates that I call her. But I'll be like, hi, Mimi, what are you doing? And she's like, the same freaking thing you asked me about before you went to bed last night. Like, there's nothing new. I've literally slept in my bed for 8 hours, but I'll call her every morning. And I usually talk to her right before bed. I'm like, hey, Mimi, what do you got going on? And she's like, I have to do laundry. And I'm like, really? Nothing exciting? No. And it's a boring conversation sometimes, but we FaceTime. So I don't know if I said that, but we FaceTime so she can see the kids. And usually I'll just like set up the iPad or, you know, the phone if I'm calling her on my phone, and the kids say hi to her and talk. And so we've been able, I think, to at least stay pretty close despite the distance, just making it a point that, yeah, they're not maybe physically there, but what can you do to still, you know, show up and try to continue that relationship? So FaceTime as much as you can. Maybe start like a group text, like a group photo album. Like, I think that does go a long way, as opposed to just like, you know, going weeks without talking to people. And then, yeah, every chance that you get, if you get a chance, you know, like making it a priority to be able to reunite. And for like Joe and I, like, it might seem like it's so easy. Like, we come down to Miami all the time and it's easy for us to do. We stay at my parents' house, and maybe not everybody can do that. And I get it. Maybe not everybody can do that. But we still have had to like prioritize other things in this season of life. And like, you know, where we spend time coming down to Miami to see my parents, had we like been living here, maybe we would have gone on trips other places instead. Like, any free moment that we get, instead of going on a trip somewhere else, like just Joe and I and the kids, we usually want to spend that time with my family. Or like for Thanksgiving, we're gonna go see Joe's family. But that's like a trade-off we're willing to make, where, you know, hopefully one day we'll be back here in Miami. And then when we do get extra like time off, and Joe gets time off of work, we can say, hey, you know, we see you guys all the time. We see you every weekend. Now that we have time to travel, let's go somewhere else. I don't know if that makes any sense. But that's the best advice that I've got for you. It's really difficult, but I think that if both people and both parties are willing to at least make an effort there, it does make a difference. And then, do we give each other breaks from the kids since family isn't there to do that? Yes, I guess. Like, there's never been a time where I've been like, hey babe, I want to go to Target, or hey babe, I want to go whatever, like go cut my hair, like, will you watch the kids? And there's never been a time where he's like, no. Like, obviously he's their father, like he's more than happy to do that. You know, Joe runs his errands, I run my errands when I need to, based off of when he's home and all of that. But that's kind of like the extent of it, because we don't do babysitters. I'm not gonna leave my kid with like somebody that I've never met, a random person. Like, that's, I think, culturally, like, not something I grew up with. Like, literally anytime I had to like be cared for, it was literally just my grandma, and that is it. So right now, like, Mimi is the only person that I leave my kids with. So yes, it means that I can't really like do date nights and like just Joe and I leave and go places together, but I'm okay with that. So we give each other breaks when we need it. But I've also accepted that in this stage of my life, the breaks are gonna be not that many breaks, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm crazy sometimes, but it's fine. So this question I've answered a lot, but I know it's one that I continue to get asked. So, tips for finding play dates, mom groups. This is from Pip Chick here. I'm interested in homeschooling, but I'm so afraid of not giving my kids enough social outlets. So, tips for finding moms in your area. Open up Facebook, on the search bar, type in moms of Miami, or whatever city you live in. Homeschool moms of Miami homeschool moms, like different variations of things like that. Or if you're not into homeschooling, just like moms of that. If anything comes up, like a group, join, see if they have activities, message someone in the group, see if it's like an organized thing, or if they do play dates. I think that's worth a shot. There are other organizations. I'll give you two of them. Moms Club is a national organization, and MOPS is another national organization, and they usually have like chapters in different cities. Maybe there's one close to you. Look at your local churches. Maybe it's the church you go to, maybe it's a different church. A lot of churches do like mom meetups and mom ministries, and maybe it's a way that you can connect with other moms in the area. Do a little research, you know, get on the internet, look up homeschooling in wherever it is that you live in, co-ops, homeschool co-ops in whatever area you live in. And I think that you might be surprised at what you can find. I know that the big fear with homeschooling is this: I'm afraid I'm not giving my kids enough social outlets. Your kids are gonna be okay. Your kids are gonna be okay. There are plenty of kids that go to school Monday through Friday, spend tons of hours with other kids, and still have issues socializing. So this idea that like only homeschool kids are like socially awkward, I don't understand where that stems from, because there's tons of socially awkward children that spend time with kids all day long. This is something that I'm like really passionate about, clearly. And again, it's not that I'm saying that anyone who goes to regular school is bad, like, because then you'll get the flip side, right? You're like, oh, my kid goes to regular school and you're saying that it's not a good choice. I am not saying that, okay, for like the 50th time. I'm just saying, like, as a society, like, we almost have this idea like your kids have to be around other kids 24/7 or there's going to be something wrong with them. And I don't think that that's true. Like, I don't think you have to have your kid in every single sport or activity in order for them to have like a happy childhood, especially like when they're 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. Like, they're kids. Like, yes, I understand if they have no one else to ever interact with, that you put them in a room and they stare at a wall 24/7. That's not healthy, right? At that point, go grab them, pick them up, take them to church, you know, take them to the park, see if they can interact with another, you know, tiny human around their same age. Like, I get that you want them to socialize, but I don't feel like the amount of socialization that we think is required is really required. So that's how I'm going to end that question, because otherwise I'll be here forever. What does your mom and the rest of your family think about homeschooling? This is from Megan. Everybody in my family's on board with it. They're like, if you have the ability to do it, then fine. I mean, I think that they see that my kids are learning and they're doing fine. So nobody has given me a hard time about that. Okay, so the last question I'm going to answer today is from Shelly May 369. She asked, what did your life look like pre-marriage and kids? What were your goals and aspirations? And how does that compare to where you are now? So I feel like if I look back at my life, I'm 32 now. So like when I was 22 years old, or maybe a little younger, I'll say like 21. Because like when I was 22, I think is when I met Joe. Maybe, yeah, because I've known him now for like 10 years. But before Joe, when I was like in my late teens, early 20s, my life looked so different. And I never in a million years would have thought that I'm where I am now. Never. That was not on like the radar. Like, yes, having kids was on the radar. Like, I wanted to get married and I wanted to have kids, but I was just in a different headspace. Like, I was just, I don't know. I was one of those people that I went to school and I did really well in school. So in high school, I was like third in my class and I was always like a straight A student. And so because of that, like, you always had people in your ear and was like, what college are you going to go to? And are you going to go to an Ivy? And are you, you know, like, hey, you're smart, so obviously you're going to go to college, get a degree, and then you're going to go on to have a fabulous 9-to-5 job with a corner office and advance in your dream job and be a girl boss and, you know, wear pencil skirts and like high heels and like that's what I thought. Like, that's what I wanted at the time. I'm not even sure what I wanted to do exactly, but I wanted to be a career woman. And even with like my blog at a certain point, I was like working on career posts and like how to advance in your career, and like that's what I focused on. Like, I wrote a book, in case you're new here, like I wrote a book called Corporate Survival Guide for Your 20s, all about navigating the workforce in your 20s and your young years or whatever. So I was very focused on career, and the idea of, you know, being a successful woman VP at any job was something that was very alluring to me, and something that I thought I could do and that I wanted to do. And so I now think that was a big mistake. Now I'm like, why? Like, that is not at all, like, obviously it worked out, right? Like, obviously it worked out. I did the whole corporate job world for a little while, which I had many issues with, a story for another day, but many issues with. And then the first chance that I got to escape, I escaped. Like, the first moment that, like, when Joe and I worked corporate, then I did like a smaller agency that I worked at. Like, I took a pay cut to work at a smaller agency because I was done with like the corporate world. But when Joe and I found out that I was pregnant with Riley, it was like, the idea is that hopefully, God willing, one day I will not have to return to the workforce, because I was so done. I did not want to be working at an office for anyone. I wanted to be a mom and a wife, and that's what I wanted. And so obviously, long-winded spiel, like it worked out, right? Because now I'm so blessed that I get to do that. But pre-marriage, pre-kids, I was in a sorority. I went to college and, you know, like did that life for a little while. And then again, graduated and started working. And I was very focused on that and how much money am I going to make? And, you know, climbing that corporate ladder. And now that all seems very unimportant to me in like where my values are and what is truly important to me. My focus now is on being the best mom that I can be, spending as much time as I can be with my kids. And again, you'll have people now who like listen to this and they're like, what are you saying? I go to work, I don't love my kids. It's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you me and my values and what I want to prioritize in my life is being with my kids. And if I had to trade the size of my house, or how many like extra times I get to order from DoorDash. Like if I had to downsize my life so that I could stay at home with my kids and live just a very modest, just minimal life, that's more attractive to me than busting my butt 40 plus hours a week, going to a job. Like that's not ideal for me. Like that's not the desire that I have in my heart. And I never would have thought that 10 years ago. I would have thought for sure I'd be a girl boss and I'd be pursuing having, you know, a company of my own or like, you know, making millions of dollars. And like, yes, I'm here making a video for you guys on YouTube, right? So to a certain extent, I'm blessed that I can kind of have a hybrid, right? Like I get to work a little bit and bring in some income, but I get to do it from my house. But my main focus is my kids and my, you know, my husband. And more as time goes by, there's more of a focus on this homemaking and just like going back to how things were a long time ago. And it maybe sounds old school. It maybe sounds anti-feminist or whatever you want to call it, but I do think that God made our roles a certain way so that we could pursue having children and being home with the kids. And I think that, again, my beliefs, I think that as a society we got played and we got caught up in having all of the things and having more and more and more, which then required more and more women to have to work to be able to afford bigger houses and more cars and to be able to put food on the table, like more. Like we obviously, you need to be able to pay your basic bills and you need to be able to feed your family. But there's this obsession, I think, maybe I'm wrong, right? But I think that there's an obsession with our culture in having more and keeping up with the Joneses, in materialism, consumerism. And I know that there's a lot of women in the workforce now. Maybe some of these women are totally happy going to work. And that's awesome. I'm glad you found something in your life that you love to wake up to and go to. That's fine. But I think that there are some other women that maybe go to work and out of necessity, that they would much rather be home. And that breaks my heart because like I feel very lucky that I can do it. And so I can't imagine like wanting to do that and not being able to. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. My focuses were very different 10 years ago. And I'm glad that by the grace of God, you know, like my priorities have shifted and that I'm able right now to focus on the things that I want to. And, you know, I'm happy about that. So I don't know if you guys enjoyed this Q&A. I don't know if maybe you learned something about me or if now you are gonna unfollow me and decide, you know what, this chick is crazy, which is fine. I get it. I love that you were here for as long as you were. But yeah, that's just some of the questions you guys asked me. And now I've got to go bathe the kids and get them to bed. So I'll do more of these here in the near future because these are always fun and like easy for me to just like film and edit and get up for you guys. And then you can listen to them while you're cleaning your house or running or doing whatever it is that you're doing. And then I do have plans on doing one with Joe, by the way. So when he comes back from his training and we drive back to Virginia, in a couple weeks, then I'm gonna try to film with him in the car, or maybe also have him just sit here on this random inflatable air mattress and film a Q&A, because it's been a long time. There's a lot of stuff that you guys said that you would like to ask him. So that's the plan. So Miami vlogs to come. We're gonna be here for a couple weeks. If there's anything you want to see in particular, let me know. Feel free to share your thoughts. Just don't be rude, because I'll delete you. But I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.